Hey, my soul seekers. I hope everybody is doing well today. I am excited to talk to y'all about numerology and raising these teens and young adults. I am in that space in my life where I have older teenagers and a young adult. And let me tell you, had I not had my foundation in numerology to help me understand the life path that my children are on, as well as what their energetic blueprint is, things would have been so much more difficult. But one of the things I did when my kids were younger, when I started learning numerology, is I did numerology charts for all of my children. And what numerology helps you to understand is what path your children are on, like what is their destiny. It helps you to understand what energy they hold innately, like what are their skills that they just carry with them. And it also helps you to understand the experiences that they are going to have throughout their life and how they're going to express themselves in those experiences. If you've not already done so, you can grab my numerology cheat sheet at bit.ly/Muffy cheat sheet. Muffy cheat sheet. And the link is in the comments. Well, let me put it in the comments for y'all. But you can grab that and you can go on and really decode your numerology for your kid. But I've used numerology. I'll give y'all an example with my oldest son. My oldest son is 23 years old and he lives on his own. And it has been such a journey to help him understand what it means to be an adult. But he is also my water baby. He is a Pisces. He is also has a very childlike life path number. He is a life path number 3. And so I knew early on that it was not going to be easy for him to come into his adulthood. I knew that he was going to have a lot of experiences that were going to try to force him to grow up and that he was going to be resistant to them. Because as a life path number 3, that is a child who really does not want to be an adult. Like they would rather stay in their dream world. They want to be creative. My son can build just about anything with his hands. And for those of y'all who have met my oldest son, you already know he's very well spoken. He's almost like a politician. We used to always say he should be a lawyer because he could talk his way out of anything. But we knew he was taking all these skill sets into his life because we understood from a numerology perspective, like who he is as a person. And as a life path number 3, I also understand there is always going to be a creative side to my son. There's always going to be a very childlike side to him, which is why also through the powers of numerology, I was able to understand that he is here to be a father. Like one of his and he says that he's been saying that since he was a kid. Like, I want to be a dad. I want to have kids. And I knew that because the life path 3, it is the number of the child. It is the number of someone who loves being around children. And my middle son is a life path 8. And he also, life path 8 is the number of the father. He also loves kids. Since he's been a kid, little kids have been drawn to him. Like he is literally, my middle son is literally the boy that goes to summer camp and all the little kids are just running up to him like, hold me, hold me, hold me. But he carries that heavy 8 father emperor type of energy. And so knowing your child's life path number, knowing how they express themselves, we're going to go through that. So we're going to go through the life path number, we're going to go through the expression number, and we're going to go through their personal year number, because knowing your child's personal year number is priceless, because it's knowing really how to interact with them on a day-to-day basis during a specific period in their life. So if your child is having a 5 personal year number, if they're in their 5 personal year number, they're going to require a lot of freedom. There might be a lot of arguments between you and your child about them getting freedom, because this is a time when they are going to really be pushing those boundaries. Whereas let's say they're in a life path number 2, let's say they're in a personal year of number 2, your kid is, they may experience a little bit of depression, because it's very common in a 2 year to experience some depression. It's very common in a 2 year to really have a lot of downtime and a lot of time where you are really just trying to understand what's going on inside of you internally. And so using numerology for parenting is about more than just like, oh, well, what, who's my child going to become? It's really about having an understanding of how you interact with them. And it's also about having an understanding of like, what are their innate talents and gifts in the world? Because you also can juxtapose numerology just in terms of what is your numbers and what are their numbers. And how do I meet this person halfway? Because yes, these are our children, but these are people. These are people, and they have things they want to do. They have personality, and it's our job as their parents to be able to show up in a way that nurtures their personality, but also puts boundaries in place so that they can achieve that life path. So let's go over some of these things. So I'm going to pull up, let me see if I can. I want to pull up this cheat sheet so that I can show it to y'all. Here we go. So if you want to figure out what your kid's life path number is, it is very, very simple. And a lot of people say the life path number is one of the most important numbers because it tells you why you're here. It tells you what it can tell you for your kids what experiences to give your kid so that they can basically meet their destiny, right? And so to get the life path number, all you're going to do is you're going to take their birthday and you're going to add it across. But you have to do it in a very specific, not very specific, but in a specific way. So according to the cheat sheet, let's say that your child is born on April 10th, 1990. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the 4, the 10, and you're going to add up 1990. So you are going to be looking at 4 plus 1 plus 0 plus 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 0, which is going to give you the number 24. And then you're going to add the 24 together, the 2 plus the 4, and you're going to get 6. So in that instance, your child will be a life path number 6. So I'm going to go for that. I'm going to go over that again. So, and you can get if you download the cheat sheet, the numerology cheat sheet, which I put the link for in the comments, it'll guide you through how to get these numbers for your kids. And it'll also give you a breakdown of each one of the numbers so that you understand what that means about your child, like what their destiny is. And so again, if your child was born on April 10th, 1990, what you want to do is you want to take the 4, the 10, and the 1990, and you want to add it together. But you want to go 4 plus 1 plus 0 plus 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 0. And that's going to give you 24. And then when you get the 24, you're going to add 2 plus 4 to get 6. And so that would mean that your child is a life path number 6. It's actually not that hard. It's actually pretty easy. But let's go over some of the numbers. So the life path number is really telling you, again, what your child's core personality and what their soul's journey is. So let's say your child is, let's say, a life path number 4. A life path number 4 kid is going to be really focused on creating structure. They are going to be a builder. My son has heavy 4 energy because the way he has 3 4s, or is it 2s? He has 3 2s and 2 4s in his birthday. So he vibrates heavy to the number 4. My son, when he was younger, he used to build fish tanks. He would build, and like my son wanted a saw for his birthday. And if we were not in tune with knowing that he's a builder, like that is a part of his persona, most parents would have been like, I'm not spending $150 to $200 on no saw. But my son still uses his saw to this day. If he wants something, he will go out in that garage and build it. And we knew that, like we didn't shun it. We knew that this was a part of his personality because using numerology. And so let's say your child is a life path number 4. That means they are here to be all about stability. They may be people who get married young because they want to start out building a foundation as soon as possible, and they want to work hard, and they're going to have discipline, but they're also going to be very good with their hands. Like they are your cosmetologists. They are your kids who are into engineering. They are your kids who want to go outside and build a tree house. Those are life path 4 kids. Let's say your kid is a life path number 5, like me. Childhood is going to be difficult for them. So a lot of times people will say, my kid just wants to run the streets. That might be a part of your kid's life. Like, I was that kid. I ran the streets. I did not want to be in the house. My mom didn't know that I was a life path 5, but I was, and I still am. And I'm still that person. I want to move to all the cities. If I could, I'd live in 5 countries at one time. I want to get to know all the people. I am a person who changes my hair often. I am a person who does my hair every day because I want to look a little bit different every day. And so the life path 5 is all about freedom. It's all about freedom from restriction. These kids are oftentimes your salespeople. They are your public speakers. They are your messengers in some core way, because that's what they're about. They're about embracing variety and change. They might decide to go to college and major in anthropology or sociology because they're really here to live life on their own terms. And they are absolutely entrepreneurs. Life path 5s, it's almost like it's impossible for us to work for people. And so knowing that about your kid, you may be pushing your kid to go to college, and your kid is a life path 5. I went to college because my mom wanted me to go to college. But when it was all said and done, I was like, I didn't even need this, because as a life path 5, which resonates heavy to the Sagittarian energy, Jupiter energy, I really wanted to I really didn't, I would learn it on my own. I didn't need to go to college to learn. I'll pick up the book, read the whole book, figure it out, and then I will go and experiment with it on my own. And so just know that depending on your kid's life path number, that helps you to know which way to push them. My baby is a life path number 9, and he has heavy 7 energy in his name number, and we'll talk about that next. And so I already know my baby is going to have a spiritual path. And since he was a little boy, he would ask me questions about God and things he couldn't see and things he couldn't understand. He is the kid who is on TikTok looking up things about the deep, deep ocean, because he wants to know all about the unknown. So when you know your kid's life path number, it helps you to really understand what their soul is trying to get at. Like, a lot of times we look at kids and we're like, they're just doing that just because they're doing that. No, their soul has a journey, and they know that from an early age, and they are trying to accomplish it. I always say a big mistake that we make when raising our kids is we don't realize that our kids are just little people. They're little people who are learning. They have less experiences than us, absolutely. Oftentimes they will do dumb stuff. But the reality is they're trying to accomplish something here on earth. So that's the first one. Knowing your kid's life path number can be extremely helpful. The next number is knowing their expression number, how they communicate, problem solve, and show up in the world. Your kid's expression number is their name number. Now, how you find the name number is a little bit different, because what you're going to do is you're going to need a Pythagorean chart. And here, I'm going to bring that up for you so you can see it. And so it is this chart that you can use to decode, to turn numbers, essentially, or letters into numbers. So let me pull this up for y'all. Move that, and then we're going to add another image. All right, so you can use this chart to be able to understand how to decode your letters into numbers. So as you can see, each column of letters has a number. And so what you're going to do is you're going to write out your child's name. So let's say your child's name is, I'm going to say Julie. I'm just using Julie. And so that would mean the J is a number 1, the U is a number 3, the L is a number 3, the I is a number 9, and the E is a number 5. And so then you're going to take those and you're going to add them together. So you're going to add together 1 plus 3 plus 3 plus 9 plus 5. And that would mean that that child is a name number 3, because it would come out to 21. And remember, when you get that final number, you want to add the 2 numbers together. So you're going to add 2 plus 1, and it's going to equal 3. And so once you have your 3, you have their expression number. So adding their name together gives you their expression number. And with the expression number, it's really telling you about some of their innate skills, but it's also telling you about how they express themselves. And if you have a child who is an expression number 3, they can talk. Like I said, my son, his name number is the number, well, His life path number is the number 3, and 3s are communicators. They can talk themselves out of a steel cage or a wet paper bag. Either one, they're going to try because they communicate very well. But let's say you have a child who's an expression number, let's say 6. That means how they express themselves is going to be very communal. It's going to be all about helping people together. It's going to be helping people to solve problems, because the 6 is the number of really the nurturer. They're here to nurture people. They're here to be helpful to people. And so knowing this, a lot of times you might think, I remember my mom would always say, because my outer man number, and again, if you want to know more about your child's numerology and you love to book a reading with me, you can go to bit.ly, read me Muffy, and I'll put the link in the comments. But you can also go get my cheat sheet at bit.ly Muffy cheat sheet. And I'm putting all those links in the comments so you can get them. But one of the things I realized about my mom used to always say about me, because my outer man number is a number 6, is that I would always bring home strays. And that's because to the world, I exude this 6 energy. People, they come to me to help them, even though for real, I'm not the best helper. Like, that's not my innate skill. It's just my outer man number. So it's how people read me. I'm really better at problem solving than I am at the interaction between people. But depending on your child's expression number, if they're an expression number 6, then they are going to be all about helping people. So that will be your child who brings home people for you to help. That will be your child who is always involved. Like a lot of times we'll say little girls are always involved in somebody's business. Number 6 is always in somebody's business because they're trying to figure out how to help people. And that's how you figure out how to help people, is by being all in people's business. So the expression number tells you how your kid is going to communicate. If you have an expression number, if your child is an expression number 7, they may be a little sassy, because 7 is known for sarcasm, because they are very, very smart people. 7s love to learn, and they're going to learn it before you know it. And by the time you tell them, they're going to act like you're telling them something that they already know, because they are seekers. They're all about discovery. They're all about uncovering life's deeper meanings. And so they may come off a little sassy, but it's not that they're trying to be sassy. It's a part of their personality. It's who they are. And so you may be punishing your child for something that they literally cannot control, because this is how they experience the world, and thus how they express themselves in the world. So it's just really important to know these numbers, because once I knew them, it just opened up such a beautiful space of understanding for my children. And so I could tell when they were doing something that was out of character versus doing something that is in character. And that even helps you when you're trying to relate to your children in terms of how they relate to other people. Like at school, when they're engaging with teachers or engaging with other classmates, you can honestly say, like, I know my kid did that, or no, my kid absolutely did not do that. Like, that is very out of character for my kid. And so understanding your child's numerology chart is extremely helpful. And then the third number that you should know for your child in your child's numerology chart is their personal year number. Again, like I said earlier, depending on what personal year number your kid is depending on oftentimes what type of struggles you might have with them. If your child is in a personal year number 9, then they are in a season of ending cycles. And that means a lot of things may be ending for them that you may or may not be aware of. And so your child might be, because the number of 9 is also resonates to the hermit number. So they may be very inclusive. There may be a lot of things they're not telling you because they feel like things are coming to an end and they don't know how to control it. If your child is in a personal year number 1, then they may be starting some new things. And you may be like, why are you trying to do all this new stuff? You want to get your hair colored. You want to go meet new friends. You want to do this because they're in a personal year number 1. And number 1 is all about doing new things. Versus if your child is in a personal year number 6, they may be bringing people home from all over the place, joining clubs, volunteering at places. And it also helps you when you know your child's personal year number. It helps you to know what type of experience to give them to make sure that they do what they're supposed to do. We always think as adults that we have a mission and journey, and we're supposed to be helping our kids find their mission and journey. And we're absolutely supposed to be a guide, but we're supposed to be guiding them along their God-given path, not the path that we've decided. So you may have a life path number 5 child who don't even need college. Meanwhile, y'all filling out college applications only for them to drop out or to get out and tell you they didn't even need that, nor did they want it. And there is a simple tool here to help you understand how what journey your child's soul on, and it's called numerology. And like I always tell people, you cannot pray to the God of numerology. You cannot pray to the God of astrology. But what you can do is use these spiritual tools to help you to define, to understand, and to move along the path of your destiny. And so, this is not, I always say these systems are spiritual tools. They are not religions. They are not things you can build a temple to. They are spiritual tools that God has given us to understand our path and to really, really go deep on knowing ourselves. There is a reason why the Egyptians wrote "Know thyself" on the openings of all the pyramids, because that is our goal here on earth, is to know ourselves so that we can understand what divine conduit God is using us to express and to create on this earth. And that's what numerology does. It does this for us. It does it for our children. And what I love about numerology is it helps me to humanize my kids. As a parent, it can be really, really difficult to look at your children as inferior, and they are not. They are not. They are not. Oftentimes, our kids are more insightful. They see more, they understand more than we ever give them credit for, because they're looking at the world with much more open eyes. And so, what numerology helps me to do with my kids, it helps me to respect my kids' destiny, their soul, their spirit, and to really honor it by giving them experiences, by interacting with them in ways that is honoring their soul's journey. And so again, you can download the numerology cheat sheet to figure out your kid's life path number. If you want to do a full numerology reading on you and your kid, you can book a reading with me at bit.ly read me Muffy, and I'll put that link in the comments too. And I would love to help you because, like I said, numerology has been such a guide for me in terms of just understanding my kids, especially now that I have teenagers and young adults. Like now I am in the latter stages of raising my kids, and you be needing help because sometimes you don't understand what they're doing. But the most beautiful thing about being spiritual beings, having a human experience, is that our kids, we may not always understand their experiences, but they're going somewhere. They are going somewhere. They have a mission and a destiny just like we do, and we have to honor that. And one of the ways for us to honor that is to know them through the guise of their personal spiritual numbers. All right, y'all. So those links are in the comments. If you don't see them, when I get done with the video, I'll make sure that they're there. Feel free to rewind the video for all my replay people. Rewind the video and go ahead and so you can understand numerology, how to use numerology to parent your teen and your young adult. All right, y'all, have a great day. I will see y'all tomorrow. Peace.